Today we're going to interview Chris Adewoye, the president of the Athletic Union. Come with me. Oh, hi, Chris.
Hey,
I know you're around. Are you ready for some 73 questions?
Yeah, really happy to be here. Pumped to answer some questions for you guys today. Thank you for having me.
So, we're in Marshall Building. Why did you pick this place?
I picked the Marshall Building because obviously as AU president, my main remit is sports and social events. We're at my second favourite place on campus, the Marshall Building, home of sport at LSE.
Can you show us around?
Yeah, I can show you around. So I mean, first thing I see is our scoreboard here, which is what we use to score games when we have visitors. I mean, the typical sport for that is basketball. I think varsity basketball is on Thursday, I think, this week. We've got 30 games this week in Lee Valley, Imperial's grounds, and also in the Marshall Building, where we're essentially having like a festival of sport. When I'm in the Marshall Building, typically playing football, well, I unfortunately kicked. If you ever find me in the Marshall, probably here.
Wow.
I've been in the FC of LSE for about 3 years now, so I guess that's what brought me to the AU presidency position, but yeah.
So, in Marshall Building, what's the sport we're sure to see you at?
Well, if I'm playing, it would be football. I guess in here, maybe futsal. But what I've been watching recently is netball. I actually watched a training session the other week, which I really enjoyed. And they've got their varsity game in here on Friday as well. So that's probably what you'd catch me doing around here.
Okay, guys, go support LSE.
Go support LSE this week, guys.
Can you tell us any anecdotes about Sway that you have?
Well, funny story actually. The last time I went to Sway, I got kicked out before the end because I may or may not have poured a double on my flatmate's head on my way out. So yeah, Sway and I have a love-hate relationship actually. I think I've been escorted out of the premises more than I've actually finished the night off. But no, like Sway's kind of like the cornerstone of what we do in the AU in terms of, obviously it's a sporting union, but what comes first is the community that we build, and like the Wednesday sports night is a good like cornerstone and like a center point for people to like meet new people, just have a good time, blow off steam.
But like, we have a question. Do you actually go to Sway every week?
Yeah, so actually I get this question quite a bit, and one of my biggest achievements at LSE is actually having been to the sports night every single Wednesday since I joined in first year, whether it be Zoo, Sway or Egg. Like actually no, that's not true. The only time I didn't go was when I had COVID and I was literally bedridden and didn't eat for like 2 days. But apart from that, every single Wednesday from now to the day I graduate, I'm going to be here, and who knows, maybe in future as well.
You never have been to Scala instead of going to Sway?
Nah. I don't try and associate with UCL at all, really. And I've not heard many good things about Scala, but who knows, maybe in future.
Apart from your beloved Sway, what is your most memorable sports night venue?
Good question. I mean, memorable is an interesting word considering I don't tend to remember much of these nights out, but I would have to say maybe Zoo for some of the drama that I had there when I was a bit younger at LSE. And again, the love-hate relationship. I mean, the last time I went to Zoo before last week, they were saying, never come back here again in your life. Then when I went there last week, they were like, you're welcome here whenever you want. So yeah, I mean, me and Zoo have a lot of history. But yeah, very much love my Wednesday sports nights out.
So we understand you're a party guy. And do you have any favorite place for prees?
To be fair, nowadays, like my favorite place for prees is probably my living room because it's cheaper than like the London pint prices at the moment. But I think Tons is pretty good crack as well, like, you know, student deals. You get to bump into a lot of different clubs there. Shakey's is good crack as well. To be fair, like, it doesn't really matter where the place is, it's just more like the people I'm with and kind of like the vibes, so we can, you know, set up a really good night.
So Chris, what is actually your go-to order at Tons?
Well, before I answer that, I really want to show you some of our other facilities here in the Marshall. So
yeah, let's go.
So these quickly are our squash courts that I mentioned earlier. Wow. I love to come here like once a week with my mates. Funny story actually, last time I came here, my parting gift was smashing my head against the back of the glass wall. Yeah, my coordination wasn't my friend that day. But yeah, to answer your question, I would say that my favourite drink at Tons is probably a snake bite. Albeit I don't really go to Tons that much too more because, you know, one snake bite there can turn into 5, 6 or 7, and you know, with how much work I've got to do with this position, that's probably not the best combination. Heavy drinking and, you know, putting, you know, the sporting experiences of 2,000 students on your back. So yeah, not so much a Tons goer these days. I leave that to the young bucks. Oh yeah.
And so do you have a memory that you want to share with us when you're AU president and this memory makes you actually laugh if you think about it?
Oh, okay, so a memory that makes me laugh. I've had a lot of memories that make me cry and pull my hair out. No, that's a joke, don't worry. Actually, so we would do AU Welcome and like Carol and stuff. I think this was at Carol. And like obviously, you know what Carol's like, it starts at like 6 a.m. or whatever, so it's like, we're in the venue, you know, the building in the SU. And like, I'm just on stage. This actually isn't that funny now that I say it out loud, but just something that amuses me when I'm being the EU president is kind of like some of the like chaos and the nibbles that happen like at Welcome or Carol of just the most random heads being like, oh, hey, let me on stage, and then there's people like in suits or like you see people in like Bugs Bunny costumes trying to stomp on bouncers and stuff like that, as in at Carol and Welcome where you dress up. But I feel bad. I feel like I should have a more like obviously funny memory. But sorry, that's the best I can do for now.
No worries. Actually, it's time to go to get to business.
Okay.
What does your day as the AU president looks like?
Okay, so typical day, meetings for sure. But before then, probably go to the gym. I go to the gym somewhere like around from campus at the Strand. We'll have a meeting with my committee, answer a couple emails, delegate some tasks for that day. Obviously, a lot of what we do is like events based, and obviously the tickets aren't going to sell themselves. So we do a lot in terms of promo. Something I wanted to do this year big time as well was make sure that we use the social media to shine light on areas of the AU that maybe weren't getting that much coverage beforehand. And so a lot of the stuff I do while I'm in that social media zone is making sure that I cover the other initiatives going on in the SU and the AU, whether that be like a charity initiative. Actually, maybe you want to zoom in on my shoelaces today. The Stonewall laces that I bought off of women's football, they raised that money and the charitable venture for Stonewall, so I might cover something like that, or I might cover like men's basketball's result for the day before. And then at some point in the day, try and find some time to do some uni work. I enjoy it though, because the majority of it is talking to people or kind of like celebrating people and celebrating people's uniqueness, whether it's like they've got really cool initiatives or they've done something really cool on the sports page. But a very busy day, like I'd say I spend like in a busy week, like 20 hours a week. Doesn't really stress me too much though, because it's something I really enjoy. Like I enjoy the challenge, like I relish like the risk we take with our events and that kind of thing. I can't really be stressed if like the hard work I'm putting in is something that I enjoy, which is like putting good stuff on for people and, you know, interacting with great people and working in teams with inspiring people. So it's happy days really. I've been recommending the position to so many people over the last weeks and for good reason.
You talk about challenge. What would you say is the most challenging part of your job?
I would say making sure that you remember that while you're in charge of the athletics union, you're still a student, you're still a 20-year-old. Being sure not to burn out is a very big thing, especially when you feel like you're responsible for the, like, I don't know, maybe social well-being of so many students in the AU. Remembering that you've got to put your own priorities first and your own interests, and basically being able to like press pause and switch off the AU stuff, for me is the biggest challenge, because I'm very much like a 100 or 0 person. I'm either going to do something to my fullest or I'm not going to touch it at all. Don't really have the option of not touching it at all in the position I'm in. So it's, you know, like full steam ahead. So kind of just like maintaining a good habit and schedule with it.
And what is your favorite part of being the president of AU?
Thing is, I bet most people expect me to say like the free drinks tokens and stuff like that, but nah, it's more like what I enjoy the most is when I know that the team's worked on like a mad project for ages. I mean, that's why I'm really looking forward to Fight Night and Ball, because those are events that even though like tickets might only come out like 3 weeks before and you think, oh yeah, it's last minute, like we've been planning that kind of thing for 4 or 5 weeks, or like months even. So kind of like when we see the manifestation of our labour in a good event, then that's what makes me the most pleased, because it's like all of this is for a reason. Also, I'd say when people come and they're like, oh, you're doing such a good job, just knowing that like taking this risk to do this role has been worth it because students feel better off for it. That's like more important to me than anything to do with like free drinks or like quick entry. But that stuff's like cool too as well. I guess we should keep walking.
As your job seems so like demanding, I had a question. Did anything intimidate you when you applied for this role?
It was, I guess, kind of like my lack of experience in this kind of like leadership thing, and like I'm very much an impulsive person, and when I took this role, it's kind of like maybe I wasn't fully aware of like the challenges or the time constraints. even though I'd managed to convince people that this role, that I was the best person for the role, maybe convincing myself that I was ready to do what I promised people in the AU was something that scared me. But I don't know what you guys think. I feel like it's gone all right so far, so I feel
so
like
far so good.
I've done the job so far so good.
And
Wait, what is this?
There's actually one with like a list of the AU presidents around here that I hope my name goes on if I get through this year in one piece. But this is kind of like a board which kind of commends the club characters of squash. While I'm here, I might as well say big up Henry Morse, very cooperative captain, you know. He's done a really good job in squash this year. Yeah, he's one of 40 captains that I work with. Hey, Melody. That's another exec that I work with in women's basketball. But yeah, I do love the execs in, you know, the AU because we all kind of have the same vision that we want this place to be more inclusive, more accessible, but also just more fun. And the big thing this year has been smaller clubs that maybe a lot of people didn't know too much about a couple of years ago. And now, like, I feel like my committee's giving them the tools to, you know, grow and do more and win more and be more involved. You wanna go?
yeah, sure, we're following you.
Of course.
So you talk about working with the execs, but I also know that you're working with the SU. How's working with them been?
That's an interesting one. I would say it's been a journey of up and downs. Like when you go into the position, you have all these ambitions and you're super creative and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna do whatever. So when the SU are like, oh, not that one, oh, maybe this, oh, maybe check that, oh, but it's too risky. At first you're like, oh, like they're stifling my creativity, like maybe they're working against me. But honestly, the more you learn and the more you know about the SU, you realize that the reason why they come from that position is because they've seen it and done a lot of it. So they're there to kind of make sure that you as an 18, 19, 20-year-old don't fall into some shit and kind of like get yourself and your committee in trouble. I actually do really appreciate some people in the SU. They've made my tenure a lot easier. Also want to say shout out Ben, he's a democracy officer who I've been speaking to a lot recently. Like he's making me think more about what I can do as a part-time officer outside of just like sports and social stuff, like how I can have more of a community impact.
So it's time for some trouble in paradise, right?
Yeah.
So who's your favorite AU exec?
My favorite AU exec is probably, I'm gonna have to say Harriet Sparling. I mean, right now she's in charge of our AU project, and also she's like one of the main reasons I'm in the role I'm in now. Like I've gone through this LSE experience with her. She was on the exec last year. She gave me a lot of tips on my campaign and all, and now she's kind of like my right-hand man on the committee. But that's not to say that the rest of the exec aren't amazing. Like shout out Jamie, Sergio, Karen, Partha. Yeah, shout out Owen as well, my engagement officer. But yeah, lovely team. And shout out Alex as well. Star player in the varsity futsal last night, I hear. So yeah, big on my community.
The one person apart from you without which the AU can never work properly.
That's an easy one, to be honest. The person who the AU can never work without is the AU member. It's not any of the committee. Like at the end of the day, everything the committee does, every project you do, every initiative, any strategies, any implementations, it's with the people of the AU who make the community what it is, right? Who kind of give the spirit, which then motivates people like me to come and, you know, try and give back more and do more and take it to an even higher level. So really, without people like you and me and this gentleman behind the store, shout out you, and you know the people in our gym and that, you know, this community can't function. It's all about the people at the end of the day. So very grateful for every single person who's interacted and engaged with some of the stuff that we've delivered this whole year.
Can you name the sports club you like working with the most?
Oh, okay, fine. Sports club I love working with the most. Women's football, I would say, they're doing amazingly on the pitch. Shout out to Reza as well. She's their captain and me and her get on really well. She's very receptive to my requests, I'm receptive to hers. And as I said before, they give back to the LSE community, which is what I kind of what I wanted clubs to do this year, kind of like do more than just play games and like have a community. I wanted clubs to see how they can have more of a stamp on LSE as a wider community, because the more that clubs in the AU can do for LSE, the more respect we may garner from other like echelons of LSE. So yeah, big up women's football. We've got the sports awards coming up soon. I guess that brings us to our unfortunately very sparse trophy cabinet, but we're getting there. Not as bad as Tottenham. Shout out football as well. I wonder what team that is. Oh, that's last year. That might be my team actually.
Wow,
I don't
so
know, but this is
Binoc
very
of the
new.
Binocs.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh, I got, to be fair, because I ruptured my Achilles, I don't even know if I was playing in this specific league.
Do you have any message for your AU team?
For the rest of the year, I would say, to realise the vision that we've had this whole year, we've got to complete this mission. So like realise the vision to complete the mission. We've all started here in September or whatever with similar goals. Luckily my whole committee at the time knew each other pretty well from going through LSE together. We had a similar perspective on what we wanted the AU to look like, and thankfully shit's gone to plan that we're like a couple months out of the end of like the academic season, and we've ticked almost every box we wanted to tick. We've taken the risk, we've bet on ourselves, and it's pulled off. So just guys, like if you're watching this, keep going, we're almost there.
Shout out to you guys, congratulations. What's one thing you would like to be remembered for as the 2023 AU president?
For trying to reimagine what is possible for an AU to do. I'm very proud of some of the precedents that I've tried to set a little bit. I mean, at the start, it was the ACS Black History Month night at Sway. That was something that had never been done before. Could have gone better in terms of like, you know, turnout and like the logistical side of things. I'm happy that the idea came to fruition and it's kind of a starting point for future years. Also, AU Ball, I mentioned, it's at the hurling and ball. Like if you said to me last year, like by the end of the year, you're going to be hosting like flagship event at one of the most like exclusive venues in the country, people probably would have laughed at me. I probably would have laughed at the person who said that I could do that. But you know, here we are, like what, 2-3 weeks out of doing that very thing. So I just want to be remembered for kind of like flipping the script a bit, in my own humble opinion, and kind of showing people that the AU can actually like go really far. Like it's just the start. Like it's nowhere near its like, you know, immense potential.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you very much. I hope you think the same. That's what you.
I actually think the same. I think the AU is doing great this year.
I appreciate it. What could we do better? For me to ask you one question, 74 questions. What do you think we could do better, being honest?
What you could do better? Give more exec cards.
Oh, okay. Noted.
What do you do differently than former AU presidents?
Get more involved. I think simple as that. And that's not a criticism to Patrick, who, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here in this position. But I just think that, like, I spend a lot of time in this position because I'm really trying to be very hands-on and very much engaged. As I said, like, the AU it's so fundamental. As in, the AU member is so fundamental to what shape the AU takes, and that requires conversations, that requires meetings, that requires, you know, putting ourselves out there. I've tried to be very visible. I mean, it's come with its negatives as well as its positives, but I would say fully kind of like making this my main focus when I get out of bed every morning. SU tell you to do with this kind of position. They tell you, like, you know, your degree comes first, but for me, it was like, nah, like, this comes first because it's something I'm passionate about.
You talk about like managing studies and AU presidency. I was wondering, how do you balance the AU presidencies and social life on top of your studying?
Balance is a very funny word. I would say something's got to give, and it's probably been sleep. That's been something that's had to give, I guess, this year. I've made it work, actually. Funny story, my grades are actually better this year when I've been doing the AU presidency than when I didn't. And I think it's because it forced me to have organisation and structure as opposed to just vibing. And I mean, I kind of anchor my social life mainly around the Wednesday night because I kind of see it as a time when I'm on the clock, but I get to have fun. So that's something I kind of look forward to. And study is just kind of like, find the gaps. Like it's going well, so like I mean I can't say there's an exact formula. I would say just focus on what makes me tick, which is this presidency, and everything else just seems to like fall into place. Don't try this at home though, put your degrees first.
Don't. How did becoming the AU president change you?
Made me get serious about my 24 hours in a day. And it's like the most kind of, the highest level of accountability that you can really get while you're being a student here. You're in charge of 2,300 kind of students, like the amount of money that you're like put in charge of, even though there's other societies that are handling more money or doing bigger events, the nature that it's every single day, like even I'm talking like Boxing Day, I'm getting messages over. So that kind of accountability means like you've got to be on time, you've got to stand up, you've got to know your stuff, you've got to be prepared, you've got to be motivated, and then that kind of like diffuses into other aspects of of your life. It's made me take my health more seriously, my routines more seriously, just the way I carry myself. And it's just made me think about things in a different way, right? Because to get the best AU for everyone, you've got to understand so many conflicting/competing interests. Understanding how different facets of my life tick is something that I've been able to do, having taken that away from using that to like figure out problems in the AU and stuff.
And what's the main difference between Chris the friend and Chris the AU president?
That's a good question, because I mean, I don't know what my friends would say, but I would say that that's probably the key thing, that there isn't actually a difference. I think authenticity is quite important, especially to like get to this point where you've won an election, because people need to believe in you and trust you, and like if they think that you're trying to be something you're not, or like you're kind of conforming to an ideal, then you kind of lose that authenticity. I feel like it's mad important to like, you know, be genuine, and so I would say that if I just bring the self that I know the best, which is my true real self, I'll probably do the best job, and it's got me this far, so yeah.
Do you ever miss not being the head of the AU?
Yeah, I do, as in, I would say the only thing I miss is being able to be like a student, you know, like a third year, enjoying my last year of uni, basically being free, just focusing on my grades, not really having to unload myself with other people's problems. To be honest, like one of the things I had to sacrifice is like my relationship with my ex-girlfriend took quite a bit of a hit with the AU presidency because of how much of a time commitment it was taking on me. So that's probably my biggest regret that I have from this experience. Fortunately, there's not too many of those. So obviously it's a big burden, but it's also a blessing, is what I would say to anyone thinking about it for next year.
One last negative note. What are the downsides of being a BNOC?
I'm not really familiar with the term, but if you
Big name on campus.
I'm not really familiar with the term, but if you mean someone who knows a lot of people at this uni, I would say, well, in the AU president lands, definitely, I get a feeling that sometimes people think I owe them something for no reason. They feel an entitlement to my time at times. And that's not me trying to be like arrogant or abrasive. Funny anecdote, like I'll have people come to me and swear and stuff, and I think they actually want to have a conversation with me. But now it's like they want to ask for my drink tokens, which is a bit of a shame. But then also just another thing, like, let's say like, I've got work due or something, or like I'm doing something really quickly, you know, it's kind of like, and maybe this is just kind of the person I am as well. I rarely get like an uninterrupted time on campus because someone will have something to ask or they want to catch up, which kind of like disrupts my workflow, which is kind of like now why I work off campus. But apart from that, like I love people, so there's not many downsides to being able to interact and chill with and vibe with and bake off with like loads of people.
Chris, one word to describe yourself.
Alternative, I would say. Yeah, that's gonna make people think.
Before you continue, can you present us this wall?
Oh, okay, cool. This is actually my first time seeing this wall as well, you know. Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, okay, I want to shout out Charlotte and Jasmine, they're two of my best friends, Harriet as well, on my committee. This is our amazing netball team. This is our women's football team. Do I know anyone here? Oh, Karen, where are you? Oh no, she's not there, awkward. Muay Thai, they just had their their fight night recently, sensational. Lacrosse, they're at every club night. What would we be without lacrosse? Men's basketball, absolutely sensational bunch of boys. If you saw my takeover on the London School of Economics Instagram the other day, I was spotlighting them. My two flatmates here. So my two flatmates are both in the first team for cricket, Rishi and Sahil. Shout out you guys if you're watching. Probably not watching, knowing them. They're not here, that's Amai though. Love you, Amai. Fencing. Fortunately, don't know too much about fencing. I know that varsity was supposed to be this week, but I think it's been rescheduled. I think I'm waffling a bit now. You still want to keep going?
Yeah.
Cool.
This seems like a love letter at this point.
Okay, who can I shout out in this one? Where's Tim? Oh, it's because it's last year, so I don't even know that many people.
Chris,
yeah.
We saw through your campaign that you were determined to bring change. What's the most pressing issue for you?
Going forward, no.
Well, in general, like...
What did I have to change? Good question. What's the most pressing issue at engagement of students? In terms of like, I feel like the AU had good engagement last year, but I feel like there was another level to go, and it was just a certain type of student who was engaging. And so that's why we've tried to be a lot more inclusive and tried to do more to attract different kinds of people, like, you know, your marginalised groups. I think me being ethnic as well, being black, kind of, I mean, Sarah, who also works at Blues, told me that like seeing a black face trying to go for this kind of role was kind of like, I don't want to use the word inspiring because I'm not here trying to say I inspire people, but like, you know, it's kind of like a role model. The AU's biggest issue is that it's too rigid in terms of like a set kind of person with a set kind of like ideals and ethos doing a set kind of activity. I think that, and this is what I would say to someone who's going to take the role over me, try and get the AU to do more, because you've got so much diversity, so much talent, a lot of resources and a lot of impact. Like everyone knows what the AU, whether they're inside or out. So the pressing matter is diversifying what the AU can do, not for its students internally, but what it can do for LSE as a whole.
And do you think that you managed to achieve some of the goals you set in regards to that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'd leave that to the public to assess, but I feel like we're getting there. It feels, I mean, just looking at the numbers, we've had bigger, bolder events with greater numbers. But from my personal opinion, I've seen smaller clubs become empowered and do some amazing things, which is one of like my main things that I wanted to work on. But does that mean that I did everything I wanted to do? Certainly not. I mean, there's still a bit of time, but you know, like your degree gets in the way and stuff, and hopefully in my handover with my successor, I can kind of put the starting points in place for them to kind of continue my good work. But so, you know, work in progress still got like 4 or 5 months here, so you're not getting rid of me yet. But yeah.
So we know you're not leaving yet, but is there some stuff left to do for your successor?
Okay, so what would I want my successor to do here? I think, in my opinion, that we've kind of set the stuff in place in terms of like the nights out are good, like the vibes are good, the events are pretty good. There's still another level to go to in terms of inclusivity. I'd love my successor to try and focus on focus groups with marginalised groups. I'd also love more impetus to be put on women in sports. And that's more participation, more women-only sessions, more support, more collaboration with initiatives like Hands Off and our women's officer right now, who's Tito. And then also more women's leadership, you know? I mean, this is now 2 years in a row of a male president of the AU. Who knows what's going to happen next year? The committee is predominantly male. As I said, who knows what's going to happen next year? But then also like sustainability, I think the AU needs to do more in terms of aligning and coordinating with some of the other campaigns of other officers at LSE. Sustainability, I think, is a big one. We're currently working on like a sustainability project with Sustainable Futures to have like recyclable green water bottles. So obviously you're a student and Rome's not built in a day, but just bit by bit see how you can innovate what's already a great element of LSE, but how we can do more.
Wow, there's still a lot of things going on.
Yeah, there's always a lot because the sky's the limit.
Do you have any advice that you could give them to your successor? These goals?
Bet on yourself for sure, because anything that's going to have a tangible difference, right, and all of that, it's going to need to be creative, outside the box. You're going to have to take risks, you're going to have to push yourself to the limit. So I'd say just bet on yourself, because if you get as far as you're going to be in this position, then it's for a good reason. It's because you have people's trust, but you've also got the skills and the repertoire in it. And just reimagine what's possible. Like, come here with a vision. Try not to let anyone curtail it or say, no, this is too ambitious. Obviously respect logistics, but to really get the most out of this, you have to make it your own. So bet on yourself and think big and like dare to create and reimagine what's possible. Yeah, that's the kind of things that I say to myself in terms of like mottos and kind of like positive self-talk and stuff. But yeah.
That's so very inspiring. And so now, on a lighter tone, are you ready for some fire questions?
Yeah, I am actually, but there's one more place I want to show you here.
Okay. Chris, then, are you ready for some fire questions?
Yes, very ready to rumble.
Sweet or savory?
Savory.
If you were a cocktail, what would you be?
1-star martini.
Why is everyone liking martinis?
And that's my favourite one. I don't really know my cocktails too well, but yeah.
Would you rather date someone from UCL or King's?
UAL, none of them art school.
Which course would you never date someone from?
Economics, because they're sadistic to study that at LSE. Like, terrible course. Definitely economics.
How would you define yourself in 3 words?
My what, sorry?
How would you define yourself as AU president in 3 words?
Charismatic, creative, ballsy. Can I say that on this?
Yeah. Favorite dish?
Sorry.
Sweet and sour chicken, Chinatown, Kowloon, shout out Kowloon, £10 buffet. Go.
Thanks for the tips. Favorite song?
Right now or forever?
Like at the moment?
Stargazing, Travis Scott. Yeah, not gonna sing it for you, but yeah, that's my favorite. Oh.
No, but do you have a motto?
Me versus me, because when I realised that I should only be competing with myself in terms of like my progression in life and like my development, that's when I felt more comfortable to take this into what I want to do. I'm supposed to compare myself against the next man, just focus on me and who I was yesterday. So yeah, me versus me.
LSE or Colombia?
Colombia is one of the most boring places I've been to. I've actually visited it myself, so good luck Manouche when you go there. I can't believe I'm saying this, but yeah, go LSE. But yeah.
What commission are you making from Buzz?
Absolutely no commission, because loyalty is priceless. Like I've known, even I got the shirt on actually.
Oh my god.
James and Maya are some of my best friends since I was like 18, so I've seen their vision and I've seen Buzz grow. So I literally do it from a position of love and I want them to succeed.
Okay, that's the end of the 5 questions. Talking about LSE, we want to know what kind of student our AU president is.
How long have you got?
I have a few questions to ask you to see if you're a good student.
Okay, fine.
The first question is, in class, are you the type of student who prepared the reading and is ready to discuss them? Or are you at the back of the class just here for attendance?
Well, I'm not sure what I'm allowed to say about ChatGPT, but let's say I go to class prepared for sure. Thing is, it's kind of like, I go to 5 out of 10 classes, and then in the 5 classes I'm there, I'll be like speaking the most, but then the other 5 classes, I'll be listening. So if my mum's watching this, sorry mum, like I promise I'm getting the grades, but that's to say I work smart, not hard.
You prefer philosophy or econ?
That's like death by burning or death by freezing, but I'd say philosophy because I get to write what I want, and as long as there's evidence, it's scores well. Yeah.
So, is there anything you like about your degree?
Anything I like about philosophy and economics?
Yeah.
The outside options, maybe.
Oh.
Yeah. Nah. I like the discussions that we have, but some of the teachers are really cool and they really pick my brain. Don't know if I'm allowed to do this as well, but shout out Dr. Marie Milowski, departmental tutor in philosophy. She's a G.
And so, a question that I think you will like: what is your least favorite thing about your degree?
My least favorite thing about my degree is just the amount of reading. No, I just don't rate how non-transferable some. Again, I don't know how much I'm allowed to say on this, but I don't feel it's applicable enough to the real world, to put it briefly. And I'm very much a person who lives in reality and abstract, I would say. But
if you weren't doing philosophy and econs, what would you do instead?
as in
Study. Like the degree you would choose?
At LSE? Or?
At LSE or anywhere actually, if you prefer somewhere else.
Again, I don't want to get myself in trouble with my mom who's going to watch this, so
sorry, Mom.
Let's just say I'd be in management.
What is your favorite place to study on campus?
First floor library, all my friends, all my boys are there, it's good fun. Like it's a good, like, it's good for like the social aspect, you know, and we break that up with a bit of work here and there. But yeah, I'd say first floor library, never been to the marshal or anything. Only come in for sport, like this is my sport place, kind of, and then library's my workplace. But, yeah.
So are you more team 4th floor or the library in the silent zone?
So you know them dividers in 4th floor? The reason why they're there, I got told in library, is because I was talking too much with my friends there in 2nd year. So to start off there, I did put the dividers there. So definitely team 4th floor.
What's on the Marshall building? Because you spend a lot of time there, right?
Amazing, amazing building. Great investment. Lots of fun, cool things to do here. Really happy to be here. Looks cool, I guess.
Yeah, it looks cool. And what is this place?
This place, the Western Studio. Got full memories of this place from when I was in the fashion show a couple of weeks back. Shout out Rad, Racing and Giving. A place where the training goes on for some of like our different alternative sports like yoga and pole fitness.
Do you have any underrated spot on campus?
Underrated spot on campus, that's a mad question. Underrated spot on campus. Come on, Christopher. Oh, not really underrated because everyone's there, but like shout out the bench areas. Or no, that little cafe outside the library. It's quite chill to be fair. They let you bring food in from outside. Actually, again, I'm not sure I'm supposed to say that, but it's said now. Any non-silent zone at LSE is an underappreciated area. But
what's something you wish you had known as a fresher?
Oh, you put me on the spot, Something I wish I knew about LSE. How career focused like 99% of people are here. Like even the people that you'll go on the night out with are the ones who are going to Goldman in the summer when you don't have a job, which is absolutely crazy because if even the sway goers are like going corporate, then who's not going corporate? That's not to chat shit about corporate, just like, yeah, I'd say very, very career focused. But shout out LSE.
What's the best conversation starter?
Nah, I was gonna say something that only my friends have realised. What's the best conversation starter? Like, what's the crack, I guess? I don't know if, I mean, I know some people watching that are gonna find that so fucking hilarious, but I mean, what, as in just two friends? Yeah, well, go on, like, you know, I think that's a very weird question, actually. Like, I don't know. I just start conversations with whichever buzzword comes into my head. Like, yo, hey, what are you saying? Well, go on, what are the nibbles? So, anything. So, yeah. See, look how busy and frequented the Marshall building is. Crazy how we're back here, but yeah.
You talk a lot about initiative. What is for you the best student initiative on campus?
This is not a cop-out, but I genuinely think it's loose media. Like, I genuinely think that also, like, and this is something I've learned as AU president, in order to tell your story, it needs to be documented. I do it through social media. I think it's great that Loose are doing it through video. Shout out them. We're going to use them at Ball, we're going to use them at Fight Night event. I mean, if someone was to say I can't say Loose because I'm with Loose right now, then I'd definitely say Rag. I think the charity shop's a crazy idea. Shout out James. And also the fashion show, which I was in, of course. So, of course, that was a great idea as well. But yeah.
Bear with us, we're going to bring back the fashion show soon.
Okay, sweet, perfect, can't wait.
So, in the meantime, what is the best food on campus for you?
Best food on campus, Wright's Bar does a job. I actually ate that before I came to do this. Egg bacon sausage ciabatta with mayo, brown chili. Definitely try that. £5.20. Don't really eat in like the Garrick or any of them places. I mean, but yeah, I would say Wright's Bar, close, convenient, and yummy.
Speaking of food, do we need more microwaves at LC?
I listen from time to time in these like executive meetings, but I think there was something about like a motion to do with that. So I would say, yeah, I mean, if it's got to the point where someone's putting in like an official policy for more microwaves, it's clearly a microwave crisis. I've only ever seen 2 microwaves on campus and I've been here for 3 years, so that's kind of a hint. We maybe do need some more microwaves on campus.
Yeah, please, LSE, do something about it. So we've heard you like football. Tell us your favorite Champions League team.
Paris Saint-Germain.
Not
a very good fan of Paris. I mean, I'm an Arsenal fan, but Arsenal haven't been in the Champions League since I was like in year 8, and I'm now almost 21. So, yeah, PSG, Mbappe, Neymar, Jordan, Dior speaks for itself.
Predictions on the next Euro champion?
I mean, we're talking club football, yeah, like Champions League. I'd love to say PSG, but that wouldn't be very logical, and I can't be seen to be illogical on camera, I guess, as AU president. So let's say Manchester City, hopefully they can finally do it, so Pep can leave and then Arsenal can come and take over the reins in Europe next year, hopefully.
As a Frenchie, I'm very interested to know what your thoughts are on Kane's final penalty.
Oh, mate, so, okay, okay, this is a mad one. So I was on a ski trip, the LSE ski trip. We just landed in Val Thorens, how do I pronounce
it? Val Thorens.
Wherever you said. We're in a bar full of French people. When the penalty happens, all the English were just shouting out like, yeah, come on, Kane. Like, we're like, ooh. He misses it. Chef working in his bar comes out from behind the bar with a bottle of champagne, sprays it everywhere. And the English were just there like, terrible. But I'm an Arsenal fan, so low-key, I had a little smile on my face when I saw the Spurs captain missing a penalty in the World Cup. So yeah, I'll let it keep.
So we talk a lot about football, but do you watch any other sports?
I watch American football, NFL. I've been to a couple of games for that in London. Basketball, tennis. I love Andy Murray, obviously. Grew up watching him. Rugby. I watch everything. F1 as well. Drive to Survive. But I've been watching F1 since like Vettel days, like Mark Webber days. I love sport, which is another reason why instead of going for like a football role, I'm doing this. Get to be in charge of 40+ sports.
So you organized Carol 2022. What's your favorite costume?
Too drunk to remember them, to be honest. I'm not going to lie to you.
You don't remember a lot of things.
I don't remember a lot. I've got a very patchy memory, and I should not be saying this stuff on camera with my mum watching. But honestly, I couldn't tell you. I just have to go with my own team, Ratatouille. I was there in a wig and the chef's costume, which is a really bad answer, but I genuinely can't remember any of the costumes. Maybe Super Mario, shout out Cricket. They looked so stupid, like crazy for Cricket to look any stupider than they do in their normal clothes. Shout out Andy Singh.
What's something people don't know about Carol that they should know?
Ooh, can I do welcome instead? I've got a really good welcome story.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so we got to welcome to set up like 2 hours before you guys came in, and then again, maybe they're gonna chop my head off for saying this, but we got told by one of the like managers in the ton staff that there was gonna be no beer lines because the taps had broken. So we're all there, hands on head, downstairs in the venue, like, so we've got an event with no beer. And like, so we managed to, luckily, shout out Gervais, he went and bought loads of bottles, but we were kind of like, we sold this event as like a boozy party and there's no beer. What are we gonna do? This was 2 hours before. And like, I just started the job at that point. I was like, oh my God, my 10 years are over. But yeah, that's kind of emblematic of how you don't know what kind of shit goes on behind the scenes problem-wise that we always find a way to fix.
So now we're going to talk about Fight Night.
Yeah.
What is Fight Night going to look like this year?
Bigger, better, more punches. I don't know, Fight Night's gonna do what Fight Night does. It's sold out, thank God. I think we did like 800 tickets in 2 hours,
wow.
Which is crazy. Like, that's something we've been really good at this year, selling stuff out. It's just gonna be a lot of people looking forward to a great night, cheering on some people who've worked really hard, you know, to get into shape to do this fight. I'm really looking forward to the Fight Night after party though. It's at XOYO, which actually went down as one of our, I actually didn't even mention it earlier, XOYO was one of our best like Wednesday nights this year, so I'm really looking forward to going there again.
So do you have a favorite fighter for this year?
Shout out Michael Wong, because I know he fought in Muay Thai literally last week. So he's doing 2 fights in about a week, and I've seen him since Bankside as well. So he's kind of my boy, isn't it? And like I see how hard he's worked. So yeah, I think Michael Wong's fighting Vlad Solomatin, so that's one of the feature fights. That's one of the fights I'd be looking out for if I was one of you guys.
Have you ever thought of participating?
I would have participated, you know. I was thinking about it this year, but I was like, then that means I'm gonna be able to drink. So I'd be having to go to Sway as AE president and not drinking. And I tried that for a month in the second year, and it was like the most painful month of my life. So unfortunately not, like, I don't know, but I would definitely recommend it to anybody who wants to do something that's gonna push them out of their comfort zone a bit. So yeah, big up Fight Night, big up boxing, Grace and Josh and all of them.
What about modeling for the fashion show?
That was really fun, you know. Again, funny story, literally got drafted into that like 3 days before the fashion show. I only sorted out my stylist and like my walks the day before. So I know I'm doing a lot of shout outs, but I want to shout out Danny and Joseph, my stylist, who helped me pattern all of that at the very last minute. And honestly, like, I wasn't really too scared because just kind of like, luckily I had sunglasses on for every single one of my fits, so I can't really see shit anyway, so I'm just walking. And again, I hate to shout out, but I just got so much love. Shout out to DJ Reese, like he was playing kind of boppy music, so kind of I was in the zone. But yeah, I think that's one of the best things that's happened this year, and I hope that there can be more, bigger, better fashion shows for years to come at LSE.
Can you give us one anecdote about the fashion show?
One anecdote about the fashion show. Oh, you put me on the spot, I can't even think. One anecdote.
Like about you, like about modeling perhaps, or putting this in place?
It was just quite weird when like, so they had the people's round, right? And then they got all the people ready for the people's round. And then like all these people, like all these guests who'd come and are now ready to model, kind of just came into the room with the models when we were all changing. And we had no idea about this people's round. So we were just there like, wait, what's going on here? Like, why have 30 people just walked into the Western studio? Sorry, like, my mind's gone blank a bit, but that's one of the anecdotes I've got.
And your best thing, like your favorite thing in regards to the fashion show, about participating in it?
The turnout, the reception. People enjoyed it, people appreciated the hard work of the rag team, of Honora, of Trinity, shout out them, of the stylists, of the models, who were pretty brave, to be fair. It's not something that anyone had really done before, apart from Victoria. So I guess kind of like the reception was my favourite thing about the event.
So moving on to new events, are there any events coming up that you're excited about?
I can't shed too much light on new events, but certainly Fight Night, but AU for me is something I've been looking forward to since literally September 1st, and that's on March 22nd. So around the corner at the Hurling and Ball, as I've said, it's going to be the biggest, boldest, baddest, most spectacular event that's what I've seen in the AU since I've been here, so it's really unmissable. Again, that sells out like hotcakes. You got one more release. Actually, by the time this video goes out, it probably would have sold out already, but yeah, that's definitely the event I'm looking forward to the most, so I hope to see some of the loose crew there as well.
Do you have any exclusive information about the AU event for us?
This year we're introducing something new, so normally the awards that get handed out at the ball in the ceremony are decided by a panel of like people like me and my committee, then also people who work in the MCU. But this year we wanted to give people who are coming to the event and people who are part of the AU and the community more of a say. So we're gonna unveil like 3 kind of like people's awards, where the people of the AU, like yourself, like me, are gonna vote for who we want to win awards. I can't leak all of the names of the awards, but for example, we're gonna have like a Social Sec of the Year award and like a just AU Member of the Year award. So just kind of a fun way to get involved and maybe cheer your mates on. That's kind of like the only nibble that I can give you. You know, I don't want to say too much and ruin all the surprises, but yeah, it will be the best night of the year and kind of unmissable. Like, I could promise you that. I know I talk a big game, but I can promise you that.
That's super inspiring, and we can't wait to see that.
Perfect.
As the interview comes to an end, we have two small requests. As our camera woman is the president of swimming, can she have more exec cards?
I guess it depends how good I look on camera, but I guess we can talk about it afterwards. Who knows, we'll see.
And as president of nothing, can I also get free entry?
I mean, yeah, being serious, I mean, thanks so much, guys, for having me, of course. I mean, we can definitely talk about it, but I don't see why we can't give something back to Luce. And shout out Luce, for real, guys. Anyone who's watching this, who's got this far, I think it's society that's really going places next year as they get more funding, more support, more traction. So, like, really looking forward to seeing from afar what the Luce team can, you know, achieve.
Chris, as your final statement, do you have any personal projects you would like to share with us for the future?
So I've been talking about how I've been running out of time to maybe do some of the things that I'd hoped to do, and part of that realization has made me come to the decision that I'm probably going to be running for Activities and Communities Officer, like the Sabbatical Officer role for the next academic year. So depending on when this video comes out, if you guys are seeing this, please do vote for me so I can continue with the good work that I've been getting on with at the moment, and essentially, you know, take my vision of the AU to a wider level and give back more to LSE, which is all I've ever wanted to do in the first place, to make your student experience better. So yeah, vote for me, guys. Thank you very much, Luce, and thank you everyone who's been watching. Cheers.